Before I start talking about the game itself, Friday 13th is one of my most favourite franchises of all time, no matter what genre. It was one of the first long running film series that I got into and invested in, next to Star Wars. I would say it's my favourite franchise. I remember seeking out copies of each film, watching the Mammoth Crystal Lake Memories documentary, following any and all news about the series, and just generally collecting over the years. So thinking of a Friday 13th game was a dream, and something I had always hoped to see one day, and eventually we got that. I remember hearing and seeing the first announcement for Friday 13th the game, and to say I was excited was an understatement. Me and my friends would always talk about how we wanted an online survival game in the same vein as a classic slasher movie. We used to play a custom game mode on older Call of Duties, dubbed Michael Myers, a game mode where one person was the killer and everyone else had to find a spot and survive until time ran out. Those games were always the highlight of Call of Duty for me, but we still wanted an official game of it. Years passed and I had taken a break from gaming. I wasn't as active as I used to be, but I still kept up to date with new games and news. Then out of nowhere it seemed, Friday 13th game was announced. I remember before that, the same company, Gun Media and Illfonic, were working on a slasher online game, which would play out as a love letter and tribute to 80s slashers. An original IP with no tie-in to a movie, but then that changed and we got Friday 13th from them, which was honestly such a surprise. I couldn't believe it was happening finally. After a few trailers, teasers and interviews over the course of a few months or even years, it was shaping up to be a massive hit, even for a B-movie horror game tie-in. People like Tom Savini, Kane Hodder and Harry Manfredini came back to fill their original roles. The people working on the game were huge fans and it showed. They put so much love into the project and made it look and feel very authentic to the beloved movie franchise. The music was iconic and gave off those same feelings as if you were watching the films. Savini created the look for the playable Jasons and also designed the gruesome kills. Finally, Kane Hodder was back in the role that made him a horror icon, Jason Voorhees. He was used for motion capture for the character and gave it 110%. He feels like he was ripped straight from the movies. The way he moves, breathes, kills, and gives those chilling but subtle movements within his performance all made it across. Picture perfect to the game. Everything that was involved was a recipe for success. Then late 2016 the game was finally released. I'd pre-ordered it for the PS4 and picked it up the first day. I remember waiting in the lobbies with anticipation, seeing who I would play as, one of the many Jasons or one of the many counsellors, which all have their own traits and stats, for both the counsellors and Jasons. Some Jasons could run where others couldn't. Others would start with different weapons, whilst the counsellors all had very different abilities as well. You could attach perks to them that would gain from playing matches and gathering up enough points to use a roll of the dice mechanic that would gift with a unique perk. They all had character. Again, it felt like one of the many movies, cheesy dialogue and acting. In those first few weeks I binged the game. Leveled up really quickly, trying to unlock my favourite Jasons, which for the looks alone is part 8. I had a blast. Playing as a counsellor was always my preferred choice, as I loved the hide and seek aspect. Running away and hiding in fear from Jason. Working as a team or solo, it was a ton of fun. Now there were some aspects that I had problems with. A lot of them have now been fixed, but at the start I remember team killing being a huge thing at the very start before it was patched. Also the numerous glitches could really dampen your enjoyment of the match. But the worst thing which still plagues the online game today is the hacking and glitches that take advantage of breaking the boundaries and ruining the game for others. It's so infuriating, and again can really make a gamer rage. But for the most part I didn't come across those issues, but I knew when I did encounter them it would leave me with a bad taste in my mouth. Eventually I moved away from the game, started to play other games and just got a little bit too repetitive for me. But I always used to jump back in when something new was added or updated. Counsellors from the movies were added like Fox and Shelley, which were a very welcome addition and gave a new element and playstyle to the matches. Offline mode was added in which the footage you can see here is of me playing. Again, a lot of fun and no need to worry about rage quitters or glitches. A virtual cabin was implemented where you could explore a new location in first person, viewing a ton of assets from the game that all had information with them from behind the scenes. A plethora of secrets and Easter eggs to discover. A really neat little game mode. Finally, we were given a somewhat single player campaign mode. You were Jason and had certain tasks to complete to finish the mission. Perform certain kills in a specific order. They were like mini scenes from the movies that you could reenact. Quite challenging at times too. There was a roadmap that had milestones on it and dates, updated and new content that would be added to the game to keep it fresh and lively. And for months they did a great job with these. The player base was massive and we're having a lot of fun with this game as well. And with all of these new game modes, maps and characters, the game was starting to fill out and expand. But then it all changed. A lawsuit that involved the original creators and writers of the first movie became public and halted any new content for the game. It happened all very suddenly it seemed and out of nowhere, but we kept our fingers crossed. I think this occurred in 2017, only a year after the game's initial release, but now we are in 2020 and nothing has changed. Gun Media and Illfonic gave an update years back stating that there would be no new content whilst the lawsuit continues, and sadly nothing has changed. It was heartbreaking as well. You could tell that the creators of the games were such big fans of the movies, and were gutted about the outcome. We never did get Uber Jason from Jason X, or the spaceship map, or Jason from Freddy vs Jason, or any new maps or counselors. It really did hurt the game. A lot of people jumped ship to Dead by Daylight, which I think is a great game, and I love having icons like Freddy and Leatherface in it. But still, I prefer Friday 13th the game. Even with its blemishes, I love it. It's such a tribute to the movies and everything is so authentic and perfect. It feels like a B movie. Playing as Jason is satisfying. Playing as one of the counselors is very intense and you are constantly waiting to hear that classic theme of Jason to kick in so you can start the whole last. Each match you have is unique and fun. Even after all of the issues and problems this game has gone through, to this day I still enjoy it. Yes, we are not getting any new content, and yes, the player base has thinned out so much where it can be difficult to find games sometimes. But when everything falls into place and works perfectly, you will have one of the most enjoyable 10 to 15 minute games ever. That's my thoughts on Friday 13th the game. I'm just thankful that we even got a new game of it, and one that has so much heart in it and honours the original franchise. I just hope that we can see a follow-up, or even a completely new game and IP from Gun Media and Illfonic, as they really do deserve it. So if you're looking for something to play, short games packed with fun and suspense, then pick it up. It's usually on sale and can be picked up for a good price. Also, I think it's a great bit of merchandise to have. And let's be honest, compared to the old Nintendo game and even the Spectrum game, we're lucky to have this. Thank you for watching. I wanted to do something a little bit lighter today and also bring a new element for the channel. I'm a huge gamer, especially horror games, and want to do the odd game review and perhaps stream as well. So thought no better way than starting with Friday 13th the game. But I do have a few movie reviews coming over the next few weeks, including the South Korean film R Point and Lucio Fulci's Zombie 3. So please stick around for those. Again, thank you for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and let me know if you would like to see this type of content again.
Yes, kill for mother. My sweet, sweet Jason. Mommy is proud of you. Now come home.